Implementing Tech in Special Education by Victoria Hadley. Effective Lesson Introductions in Pre-Instructional Activities is my article number 1. Lesson introductions are important to lesson effectiveness. A well-developed lesson introduction will set the lesson up for success by giving the students background knowledge necessary to understand the lesson and identifying misconceptions that could hinder student abilities to receive the information. The technology I chose was Flocabulary. It's an innovative and engaging resource that can be used to introduce a broad scope of lessons in many areas of instruction. Flocabulary is a site that offers educational songs with a catchy tune, and students listen and learn from them. Flocabulary also offers some games that can be played along with the introductory review video for students who need a little more. Music can be a great way for students to reach sensory needs as well. Article number 2, Effects of Flashcards on Learning Authentic Materials. The role of detailed versus conceptual flashcards and individual differences in structure building ability. Flashcards are an important tool that can be utilized for students with learning disabilities. Students who struggle with test taking can greatly benefit from using flashcards to study. Flashcards can be used with important words and definitions, problems and solutions, pictures and words. Student-generated flashcards can be even more beneficial. When students make their own flashcards, it's important that they are detailed as it will lead to a better outcome. This article also stated that flashcards are not as beneficial for students who are not behind. So this would be a lesson or a strategy that I would keep in my back pocket for students who do have learning disabilities. The technology application for that article for flashcards is Quizlet. It's a great technological tool to use in place of traditional flashcards. Students can make their own flashcards, or for students who need even more support, the teacher can make the flashcards for them and share it. So they have access. Another benefit to having flashcards on the computer is that they can be used with accessibility features that the device already has, such as reading the flashcards out loud. They can also be made with accurate photographs rather than hard to understand hand drawings for the students who struggle with fine motor skills. Because of the importance of detailed flashcards to study from, students could also utilize the accessibility tool speech to text while making their flashcards. Article number 3, Require online exit tickets for active engagement. This talked about how exit tickets are a great way to have a quick check of student understanding in the materials of a lesson at the end of a period. They take minimal preparation and can have a huge impact in the intentionality of classroom teaching. They can also help the teacher to identify which students need additional support in a small group setting. On top of being used at the end of a lesson, they can also be used at the beginning to help the teacher determine what possible misconceptions need to be addressed. If students know that an exit ticket will be coming, their engagement is going to be higher. The technology application for exit tickets would be Edpuzzle. I chose Edpuzzle because it's an interactive dashboard that students can have easy access to from a tab bar on their computer. A teacher can assign a quick Edpuzzle video with a couple of comprehension questions. Not only is it a great tool for the teacher to use as a guide for further instruction, but students will also have access to the video to watch previous lessons or to go back for the most forgetful and unfocused of students. They can go back and rewatch the video. They are also available to the student in their library after they've been assigned anytime the student needs a quick refresher course. Article 4, Individualizing Student Instruction in Reading, Implications for Policy and Practice. Individualized reading practice is imperative to student success in reading. This can be hard for students who need extra support. Each student has their own strengths and weaknesses, which makes individualized reading practice hard to do. It is also hard for teachers to make time to test and score each student in a timely manner to be able to effectively differentiate to the effect that most students need. Best practice is for students to have continual progress monitoring and push them just outside of their comfort zone. A good technology application for that would be individualized reading practice is imperative for students. This can be Epic. Epic is the program that I chose for individualized student reading. Um, it's a really great program with thousands of different books. Every anything that a kid would be interested in, there's scaffolding built into Epic. The student can read the book themselves. It could be highlighted as they read it. It could be highlighted and read it to them as they follow along. There can be comprehension questions or not, depending on the student's level, and it automatically individualizes the material for them. Article number 5, empower students through individual conferences. Students and teachers need to have more meaningful conversations about student academics, progress goals, and questions. That is where student conferences come in. It allows the student and the teacher to have those meaningful conversations so that learning can be a priority for the student and it can be intentional. Teaching can be intentional for the teacher. Google Classroom is that application that I chose for that because as a student with disabilities, it could be embarrassing for them to have to go see the teacher a lot about where they're at. So it keeps it between the teacher and the student. It also gives them a chance to communicate um, where they can see it rather than verbally so they don't forget. Um, Article number 6, building children's learning motivation through positive reinforcement. Students are more motivated to learn in both science and math when given positive reinforcement. Students like getting a thumbs up, nod, smiles, and verbal praise for answers or effort. The more the reinforcement has to do with the students, the more effective it is for behavior change and modification. Students can use Class Dojo to see their positive reinforcement. Students with disabilities can often reach a level of frustration in the classroom or lose interest in lessons or activities quickly, giving them that visual positive reinforcement to where they know they're going to get or reach a goal. It's an excellent tool that can be used, and it can be used throughout many devices, phone, computer, tablet, Chromebook, whatever you have. Article 7, meaningful independent practice in mathematics. Independent math practice is important for student progression in the subject. Students, however, struggle to maintain motivation to complete the independent practice. One way to improve meaningful practice is to give students questions in which they had to answer the problem, then teach it to another student. This is just one of the many ways to make independent math practice more meaningful. The key factor in making students' math practice meaningful and effective is to find a way to build motivation for students to get the practice in. Practicing different types of math problems is another way to keep interest in the problems. So I chose Prodigy as that application. It is an interactive game where students are given math problems to answer. If they answer it correct, they earn points and they're able to battle their friends. Use of Nearpod as interactive learning method is article number 8. Nearpod is an interactive learning platform where students are engaged in learning independently. The technology is interactive, can be tailored to fit the needs of every class and every student, and creates meaningful lessons with every use. Nearpod can be especially useful for things like whole class instruction and lectures. That is important for the technology tool Nearpod because it gives students a chance to get online instruction where they can pause it, rewind it. They get to use accessibility features for students who lack fine motor skills, reading skills, auditory, visual, students who need to go slower, they need directions repeated. All of those things are possible on Nearpod. Number 9, the effectiveness of gamification to improve student mastery. Some students have been exposed to so much technology at this point in their lives that just the mere thought of having technology integrated into a lesson is not as exciting as it used to be. Students are, however, excited when they are given the option to play games while simultaneously learning, practicing, and reviewing lesson material. The application for that is GimKit. GimKit is a classroom game show application where students can get on and compete against one another live or at their own pace. During questioning, students are introduced to or review concepts. Once answered, students earn money they can use to buy a higher score. The fast-paced quiz show flashcard combo is great for students who struggle with focus. Students have to trouble at all competing against one another, and once finished, students can use the flashcards as extra practice. Number 10, the learning strategy of the total physical response. This one is probably my favorite. Total physical response can be a powerful strategy to use when students are majorly struggling with a concept. Total physical response is great for teaching traditional areas of education, such as math and reading, but it can also be helpful in social skills development lessons and the acquisition of a new language. Students get unusually long-term retention when using the body to learn something new. A group of students who learn a concept without total physical response will retain the information for an insignificant amount of time, while a student using a total physical response strategy has a significant increase in retention. Many students with disabilities struggle with being able to use social skills appropriately. There is a great technology application called GoNoodle. It can be used to teach social skills and coping skills, different yoga techniques, breathing techniques. It's a site that offers total physical responses. Students can dance along. They can move along. They can move along with the coping skills. They can breathe along with it. It shows them, and they are encouraged to get up and do it with the screen. This can help students with disabilities practice and feel more comfortable enacting skills that they would not normally be able or think about doing. This is my resource page. They are in order by article. I didn't put them in order by alphabet because I wanted them to correspond with the article number. So article number 1, Waxman. Article number 2, Lynn. Article number 3, Danley. Article 4, Connor. Article 5, Shrum. Article 6, Sumiati. Article 7, Lookie. Article 8, San Muggum. Article 9, Chris Biantoro. Article 10, Asher.